Can I rent a room in my apartment on Airbnb? This is actually a pretty weird question that I get all the time. Many people know that I rent apartments and I make a lot of money on Airbnb, but let's break it down and see if you can rent a room in your apartment on Airbnb. Let's go. I'm going to tell you a real step-by-step guide on how to start renting apartments and putting properties on Airbnb. I'm going to share with you 3 of my insider tips as a real estate entrepreneur and how to make money using Airbnb. And last but not least, I'm going to share with you how I make hundreds of thousands of dollars on Airbnb and other sites like it every single year. So many of you have heard of Airbnb. Airbnb is the #1 home sharing platform out there right now. We have other sites besides Airbnb, like Booking.com, Vacation Rental by Owner, and so many others. But essentially what Airbnb and the opportunity that exists is many people can take properties that they own privately and turn them into real estate profits. You can take property that you have ownership in or you have control over, and you can put them on Airbnb and rent them out on a nightly basis. I literally used to have properties that I rented out and only made about $300 per month on. I would have a house, the mortgage would be $900, using that as an example, and I would rent that on a yearly basis to a person for about $1,200 a month. After expenses or whatever, I was making maybe $300 per month. I acquired a pretty big portfolio, and that's how I started making a lot of money in real estate. But one day, I learned how to start putting my properties on Airbnb, furnishing them, and then renting them out on a nightly basis for almost $140 per night on average. I literally took my profits from $300 a month to about $2,000 per month on that same property. It was life-changing. Essentially, I realized using Airbnb and sites like that, I didn't need so many properties to make a full-time living. In fact, I have students with only 5 or 6 properties that are making 6 figures a year on sites like Airbnb. The opportunity is awesome. Airbnb is one of the largest home sharing platforms out there with millions and millions of visitors per day. People are putting their properties up there, properties like the ones that you see me in, and making money on them. It's a great opportunity if you treat it like a business. Let me tell you how. So like I said, at one point I had over 42 properties with long-term tenants in them. And yes, I made very good money doing so. But once I started transitioning my properties from long-term tenants to short-term rentals, my income skyrocketed. I realized that instead of renting out unfurnished apartments, I could make way more money furnishing the property and renting it out on a nightly basis. This was an amazing opportunity and probably something that you're interested in. Type down below and let me know some of the things that you want to know about Airbnb. Now that I'm a successful Airbnb entrepreneur, I want to share with you all of the things that I know. Type below and ask me your questions. I'll make sure to answer all of them and read all of them. Taking this idea even further, because I found that they were so profitable, I've literally been able to buy apartment buildings and make those properties into Airbnbs. We literally have small apartments where we furnished every single unit in the apartment building and we put the properties on Airbnbs. We've been able to turn unprofitable apartment buildings into very, very profitable Airbnb buildings. Now you'll have to check with your local guidelines to make sure that this is legal where you are, but it has transformed my business, and we've even created an entire company where we do this and we split the profits with people. You literally can check us out at our website, nuurez.com. That's NUUREZ.com. Check it out. So now let's talk about putting rooms in an apartment. Like I said, I literally have apartments, single ones where we will do corporate leases for. I'll explain that to you in a second. And I'm able to get 5, 10 units in an apartment building and put those on Airbnb with the owner's permission. And I've literally been able to buy apartment buildings and turn those units into Airbnbs, even doing some of them as a mix where some of our tenants are long-term tenants and some of the units are Airbnbs. This is actually a way more profitable way to do Airbnb. When we're talking about just putting rooms on Airbnb, this is a little bit more tricky. If you're actually trying to make money with Airbnb, I find that it is better to put the entire apartment on Airbnb instead of just a room. Or if you have a house, whether you own it or you have control over it, you can create those rooms into an Airbnb. Literally, some of you may know the story of how Airbnb got started and even their name. The word Airbnb comes from the term air mattress because the owners put an air mattress in their property and started renting that out in San Francisco and making money on it. It's an amazing story, but there's a much better way now to get money on Airbnb. Instead of doing it where you only are putting a room on, try to get an entire apartment unit. You literally can do a corporate lease and get the permission from the landlord or the apartment building owner to have a unit for Airbnb. You can furnish that unit, people will feel safe and comfortable in your unit, and you'll make a lot more money. Profitability-wise, we found that renting just a room on Airbnb doesn't rent as well as the entire apartment. Although you can find rooms on Airbnb or even air mattresses or couches, that's still available, we find that those are not as profitable and it's really hard to make an entire business around it. Additionally, you will find that it's hard to get the permission of many of the landlords to put just a room on Airbnb, but much easier if you can do a corporate lease, again, a lease in your business's name, and get the permission to put that entire unit on Airbnb, and now you have an actual rental property. It's a way better model and actual business that you can grow. So now you completely know about Airbnb and how to really make money with Airbnb. I share with you some of my major secrets, and I have even more. I've created an entire course that teaches you all of it with all of my scripts, all of my contracts, and all of my templates, so you can actually turn this idea into a business that makes hundreds of thousands of dollars per year. You can get this course at a very affordable price at bnbriches.com. Additionally, I'll give you a coupon code that you can use to save 50%. At the checkout, use code SAVE50 and that will take half off an already super affordable course. This way you can learn all of it and actually start making money. I want to make sure you have all of the resources, all of the tools, and all of the knowledge that you need to be successful. This is Noelle, to your success.